Fox just securing that Fox first, and then banning out that Baron. So the side of Infamous may just ban out the Catherine, to just remove Catherine from the equation, because Catherine is just so very strong, and just forcing that of say they are going to remove the Catherine and just forcing, you know, the side of Celsior to do something off meta or an off tank like say Glaive or even Batiste, or I mean Arden is open, so they might just go for it Arden as well.
They still could just go for Arden as a normal captain, but Celsior are mainly comfortable on the Catherine and the Lyra, so you're forcing them onto a less comfortable hero. Box is really good, it denies Uni from having the box, and Celsior like to play box themselves. The Batiste is a great flexible pick, you can do it either as captain or as jungle, and it stops them being able to pick Koshka. Was unable to pick Koshka, but they've gone for their Samuel and Kestrel combination again. The Samuel Lyra is great together. The amount of heal you have is immense. If you play Kestrel correctly as weapon power, you can beat Box in lane. I'd love to see this Batiste play as Crystal. I think the utility that he gets as captain isn't that important this game. I think he needs to have the damage of Crystal, and they want to go for a captain like Arden, but they're going to change it around, and Celsior are so happy with how well they played Celeste, they're going to play it again. But the problem with that is that Infamous now have a great late game comp. Samuel excels in the late game, so does Weapon Power Kestrel. So it's not going to be as easy for Celeste as it was in the last game, because basically Vox had a cheap early game build, and you're up against a Koshka who had 2 damage items. So there was really no contest for Celeste at all. So she could just freely do all the damage she wanted to.
Yep, I mean, just looking at draft alone, Infamous is just falling back onto that Samuel, onto the Castro. You say they've got a very good late game, and I must agree with you. But there is one thing that Infamous excels in with this comp, and it's that pushing the early game advantage as well. We saw the siege potential coming up from that Lyra, that Castro, and of course Samuel as well. And we have seen this comp played throughout Vainglory 8, whether or not it's from Infamous or another team like that of Impunity, and they always push in the early game. Especially since Infamous's, key to win is just objective based and how objective focused they are. This team comp will definitely work superbly for them. Whereas on the side of Celsior, not discounting them at all, they've got a Vox who has, like you said, a very cheap build that he can, reach his power spike with, that point shift tension bow, and of course the breaking point, and of course the Ordain that can be casted on Samuel or even on that Castro where they try to advance. And on top of that, since they are so comfortable on that Celeste in the previous game, they can work it out again, and whether or not they can play it better. And they have to play better, the side of Celsior at least, have to play better as compared to the second game and the first game. Much, much better. In fact, just know when to push that advantage. Just know when to just go in for those objectives instead of playing passively. Because I guarantee you, for this third game, if they are going to do that, they will definitely be punished for every single mistake.
Yeah, I think Infamous are going to be much more happy with their composition this game. The last game they really went for early game pressure, especially with like Fortress and Koshko. I think once the game reached about 22 minutes and they hadn't exposed one turret or exposed the Vayne, I think Infamous thought they were in a really tough spot. So this game they'll be much happier with having that weapon Kestrel to really push turrets if they get a slight lead. Similarly with Samuel, can push turrets and can also try and invade against the Celeste in the jungle. You can use your level 2 power spike to try and steal some farm away from her, or maybe get first blood reasonably early on. So I think it's definitely possible for Celsior, given how comfortable they are on the Celeste. But Spitfire's going to have to play extremely well, and Destiny Stars will need to dodge pretty much every single glimmer shot, or else he's going to get bursted down by this Kestrel.
Yep, and one more thing that we must realize as well, Spitfire was on that lane as the Celeste, so she can get a lot of farm in a very short time, whereas now that she's placed in the jungle, she's now down to just getting levels in a very short amount of time. So this is the difference between, and honestly, Uni on that, Samuel, we've seen Uni play as well, and a lot of the aggression, although you may say that Uni want to just go into the jungle of Celeste, but Celeste's clear speed is obviously faster than that. And a lot of times when Uni is seen on this Samuel, he just want to put on as much lane pressure as he possibly can. And Spitfire in response will be rotating up the lane as well.
Yeah, Spitfire's not even going to try and test that mid tree away from Samuel. Celeste's really good minion secure if you do actually try, but it looks like Spitfire doesn't want to, and Samuel decided to bot home as well, so that Elder Tree being completely ignored. No one loves him. No one wants to take his healing, but he'll be available for the next rotation. And Celeste was quicker to her backs. Her backs also spawned first because Celeste has really quick farm clear. If you put your Helio down before the minions spawn and make it go supernova at 35 seconds, you can really clear your farm insanely quickly, and that basic attack follows Destiny Stars back to the base. I think Spitfire may try and get the Triumph, but Uni's just waiting for his minions. So definitely Spitfire could try it, but I don't think he will. We'll just try and be defensive. Maybe rotate up to lane.
Yep, and one more thing as well that Celeste has got over that of that Samuel is the energy usage on abilities, but we do see all three members of Infamous rotating down from the enemy's mustache brush, and they did manage to secure that mid tree, and that Celeste tried so hard for.
Yeah, Spaghetti managing to get it. Looks like he's working towards Soulblade first on Kestrel, which makes a lot of sense. Spaghetti is very low on energy, so he's definitely not going to be able to do that much. And yeah, Spitfire he's not actually going to lane. Samuel's leaving his backs available, and he's just pushing this wave up. Heist knows that they're all three in lane. Infamous really want to get some turret damage before Spaghetti ports home, because he needs to get energy, so he'll need to port home quite soon. So will Uni, because of the lack of energy on Uni. Now it's a double stun onto SNK. Celsior love their double stun comps. First blood going over to Spitfire and Celeste. That's really good gold that Spitfire needed, and he's going to now take the the front train away from Samuel. That's really good for Celeste. First blood. It looks like it's going to go for Max now. Not going to be that aggressive. Celeste will be happy to get a little bit of Samuel's farm.
Yep, and there's one more thing as well. It was clearly a mistake coming up from the side of Infamous, just overstepping on their boundaries in a sense where, both Spaghetti and Uni, they require so much energy to output damage, and yet, they tried to engage when they were very, very low on energy. SNK on that Lara can heal you up to full health with the Imperial Sigil, but definitely not your energy. So Spaghetti is taken down to half health yet again.
Yeah, Uni going to get ordained, and the stun did not land from Spitfire. Uni actually playing well around with the Malice. A verdict. Destiny Stars is going to boost under his turret into the little bush to make sure that it's not an ace. That was extremely well played from Uni. He is not troubling with energy at all. He is full energy almost. And that double kill with the Malice with the verdict, actually just playing extremely well. And this is what Infamous do best. They get a couple of kills. What do? Straight for the turret. They may fall. Actually, it looks like they may not get the turret at all. No, they don't. Infamous, unfortunately, unable to pick up the turret for them. And that is a kill to Batiste on the Lyra. Now Uni's going to try and defend this turret. Spaghetti's got 2.5k gold. He wants to shop, he wants to get a Soul Blade, and wants to badly get some energy. Obviously, you want to get adrenaline stacks on your Kestrel so you don't lose as much energy, but you can't do that if you can't get in basic attack range of anything. So now Celsior are going to get there, but in return get the turret down to about 2/3 health. So not as bad, but Celeste not able to pick up that mid tree, and now going to all back off. The gold is very even between these two teams.
Well, I guess it is kind of a trade-off at the end of the day. If you are very aggressive, and if the enemy comes back and has got a response to aggression, then at the end of the day, you are quite limited in terms of your movement. You can't quite roam down to shop. You can't quite go up to shop or go back home to shop, because you really need to maintain that aggression that the enemy is responding to yours with. So I'm glad Spaghetti finally got to shop, picked up the Sorrow Blade, picked up the minion's food, and then has got an infusion sitting in his pocket as well. As with Uni has got a Frostburn now, double Crystal Bit. He will be doing a lot of damage, and on top of that, a lot of CCs as well. Spaghetti do pop that infusion for himself.
Pops his level 4 infusion. He's now his level 5, so that probably could have waited a little bit to get some more worth on that infusion, but it's okay because they do want to fight pretty soon or try and push that turret. It's within one basic attack of death as long as there are minions in the way. Good minion candy from Batiste on those minions. Lyra's going to do the same to hers. So both teams with minion candy just to try and push the turret, try and stop the push of the turret. Spitfire going very low. Samuel, good malice. Verdict doesn't quite land. There's going to be the Oblivion onto the turret to secure the turret taken down. Perhaps infused by Batiste. Castro trying to chase it onto Spitfire. Good stun. There's the Solar Storm. Almost picking up the kill, but it's not quite enough. Tyson now going to have to boots away. Destiny Stars doesn't want to try and fight. Spaghetti with so much damage, even through the Solar Storm of Celeste. Celeste obviously not with an even harvest yet, wasn't able to sustain through that Solar Storm. And now Destiny Stars is back there under critical sentry. So Unity's going to try and take these backs and then run away. Because you don't want to fight under that crystal sentry, especially given how low energy all the members of Infamous are.
Yep, I mean, Crystal Sentry, OP. That is what people say, no? I mean...
Crystal Sentry is better than heroes. Crystal Sentry is stronger than all the heroes.
Just imagine the amount of damage a Crystal Sentry does in that of late game, and you can build as much shield or armor you want, but he is just gonna hurt. So Infamous, they are back online. They are playing like they used to play, or we are used to see them play, being very objective focused. They know that, you know, what the key targets are. They are going for them. They are taking them low. They are finally closing the deal with, of course, you know, picking up an objective as well. We are seeing them roam in 3. So it is good to see that Infamous is coming back. They are not, you know, just giving, you know, a lot of breathing space over to Celsior. And like I said earlier, although the side of Infamous, they are making some small mistakes, but then with how conservative the side of Celsior is playing, as compared to how, you know, Infamous is playing, Infamous definitely has got, you know, that more robust and just bloodthirsty team comp, as we are going to see another fight.
There's going to be the Arcane Passage from Lyra and a Bright Bulwark, but they're not going to go in. Spaghetti wants to shop. He wants to receive that fountain and just back off. That is a full Tyrant's for Spaghetti, which is really good. Goldmine will be secured by the Lyra. Somehow, when you've got Kestrel, Lyra still manages to steal it with an Imperial Sigil. So, that's good for Infamous. They do get the Goldmine now. Lyra's going to Crucible out of the Ordained, and there is no Fearsome Shade for highest yet. Still needs a little bit of more experience until that is unlocked. SNK doesn't have the Arcane Passage. It was used pretty poorly, to be honest, because the rest of his team just didn't follow. It was Spaghetti wanted to shop, but Uni wasn't quite ready, and so that was a waste of the Arcane Passage and the Bulwark. But they're still trying to push this way, but they've got 3.5k gold lead for Infamous, which is extremely good. They they now know that they can either try and get a kill or get a turret, so they're going to try and focus the turret instead. There's the drifting dart from Samuel, going to be Ordained. Kestrel going straight onto the turret with those limit shots. Fearsome Shade is now unlocked. Will throw away Samuel and Kestrel. There's the core collapse going to land onto SNK. He's going to go very low. Fountain is available, and so is the Imperial Sigil. Good boots from Uni to dodge out that Solar Storm from Spitfire. And there's the Helio. Good Ordained. SNK going to block out of it. Is down. Destiny Stars up to boots away. One shot, not quite landing. The Verdict did hit onto Destiny Stars. The one shot, not quite. And now Spaghetti and Uni, again, as you said earlier, they have to back off because they have no energy.
Yep, they do not. And it's quite interesting to see because the team comp coming up from Infamous, they really require great teamwork to work, because firstly, you need to know to poke. That's one of the things. And of course, energy management as well, which we are seeing the side of Infamous constantly facing, else they can actually put out a lot of damage, especially with the sustain coming up from Lyra. And of course, I mean, when I say a lot of damage, I mean sustain over a period of time. So they can be in the team fight for a very long time with the amount of poke that they have. Problem is that energy is constantly an issue for them, whereas for the side of Celsior, they are very reserved with their energy, and in fact poke as well. We see, you know, Spitfire just knowing when to throw down the stars and just, you know, not throwing down them to just zone them out, but rather for the damage wise. So I guess at the end of the day, you know, if Infamous will drag this on, the side of Celsior might come back up once again, or might have a comeback.
There's the Ordained, not quite going to stun up. Uni is going to stay inside that. There's the Drifting Dark. Infamous really want this turret, but Celsior are going to clear the way far before they can even get some damage on it. Core Collapse not going to land, but Supernova will do 397 damage onto Samuel. And Unique did pop the Scout Trap, so Celsior know where he is. He's going to get the Trin anyway. But the Arcane Passage was not at the right time, SNK. I mean, you scared Celsior, but that was about it, because Spaghetti was too low on energy. Uni wasn't ready. Both needed to shop, pick up some infusions. Now Infamous could fight. It'd be great if they had an arcade passage, but unfortunately that was used. They're just going to get the gold mine, and there's not much that Celsior can do except for a Hope Solar Storm, and it will not quite steal the gold mine. I thought that was perfectly on time. Celeste a little bit early.
Little bit early indeed, and quite a good position to throw a solar storm from. We did see a couple of glimmer shots, or not glimmer shots, sorry, one shot, one kill that came from the top lane as well. When I heard you guys were casting, a lot of one shot, one kills came from the top lane to just steal that gold mine. If not, then Kraken. So good positioning from Spitfire, but at the end of the day, it didn't quite work out for them. Quite, just a little early. But now Spaghetti is sitting on double turrets Monaco, one Sorrowblade, and then Pocket having an infusion. They will definitely look for this turret.
Lots of damage from Spaghetti on the members of Celsior. Ordain does land, and they really want the turret. It's so low, but Celsior can clear this wave quickly. Highest is going to fountain before he falls asleep. Smart play. They know they want to fight, so he used the fountain for instead of trying to block out. So he have a block, so he just used that to keep himself alive. There's going to be Malice. Verdict not quite hitting us the highest. Boots away Spitfire. There's going to be the Solar Storm. It's going to do a lot of damage. Lions wait for it from Fox to almost pick up Lyra, but there's going to be an Imperial Sigil. Spaghetti is now full health. So much healing on this Lyra, and that's the turret finally for Infamous. There's siege and pressure. Does come something. There's the core collapse not landing. Block used by Uni. Now can't block that Ordained. Destiny Stars is going to try and get on top of him. He's just baiting out onto the Crystal Sentry. Spitfire is so low. He's going to be able to get away. They don't want to chase under Sentry, and they're just going to take it out. So much damage on this weapon, Kestrel. The Sentry gets defeated, really quickly. Celeste has to port home to get herself some energy, and Highest has a full metal jacket. Makes so much sense against weapon Kestrel. You don't need an Atlas. Just try and tank those glimmer shots. And Infamous are now extending their gold lead. Uni has got that tree in about 4 times in a row now, because they always have had the map pressure and ability to do so.
Well, yeah, we do see Spaghetti completing that Aegis. And honestly, it was really down to Spitfire on that Celeste to just zone them out. But once Infamous saw an opening to get to that Celeste, or get to anybody for that matter, they just made use of it, capitalized on it, and then eventually pushed the turret down. Because at the end of it all, if you realize, the only reason Infamous couldn't quite push the tower was the damage coming out from Spitfire on that Celeste and the Heliogenesis. It's so weird saying Spitfire on that Celeste. I just realized. So, but anyways,
Spitfire's got one of the worst names in the for casters at least. Spitfire playing against the Scarf is absolutely horrible. But luckily, it's not on the fold today. And Infamous going to do a little bit of pressure. There's the arcade passage to troll out Highest. It didn't work. And Highest is going to have to boots away. He'll be okay. Celeste having those Helios. That's good damage from Kestrel. Going in onto the backline. The Fist of Shade is not quite blocked up in time. One shot. Does not land, but the sleep does. Celeste is sleep. Can you get the Malice? Yes, you can. The verdict lands. And that is one kill for Infamous. They now want to push this turret. The minions are there. Destiny Stars and Highest far too low to even try anything to stop this. And they're gonna boots in. They're gonna try and get onto Kestrel. He's very low on energy. There's the Ordained landing. One more glimmer shot will get the turret down, and he's gonna do it just to make sure. Now Infamous wants to back off. In fact, no, he doesn't. Uni wants to go in. Kestrel isn't with you, so your Drifting Dark was not in a good position. That's Spaghetti's going to go in on Destiny Stars. Ordained stops him from engaging, and that's a double kill for Vox. Will be a triple, not quite. Celeste steals the kill, but that is going to be. What is it going to be for Celsior? Kraken or turret?
I personally think Celsior would just push for the turret. Hopefully can get it down in time, and then back off to hopefully camp around that of Kraken. I'm not sure what happened then with the side of Infamous, why Uni decided that it was a good idea to just go back into the team fight when Kestrel wasn't there. So at the end of the day, I think it was just that mistake that might give a leeway to that of Celsior to just come back from that game, because we did see as well a lot of tiny mistakes, although Celsior cannot quite capitalize on them. But more often than not, if you continue doing that, then you are just giving the side of a Celsior a lot of breathing space as well. The more mistakes you do, right? The more mistakes you perform, you give Celsior a lot of breathing space, and they can take advantage of breathing space because, like said, and we constantly say that, when a game gets a little too long and everyone has got full builds. No matter how much gold you have over your opponent, it is all just empty gold for you to reinfuse, and that's about it. Kraken is being started by the side of Infamous, and whether or not they will continue or it is just used as a bait is something that is debatable. We do see Infamous just going up to lane, just clearing that up lane and probably reposturing themselves just to catch out Celsior. But we have a Celeste on the side of Celsior. She has that Helogenesis to just give vision into that brush.
There's Yudi going very aggressive Spitfire. One shot will connect. It won't be enough to kill him. Mr. J, get Kestrel away from you. And definitely Cel's going to go in onto Lyra. There's that over the wall. Deliver shot onto Celeste. I don't think there was any vision for that. It's just fantastic. And that's going to be Samuel picking up the box. They could just push for the win. Double kill for Samuel. Infamous with the ace. 23 seconds on Celeste. Yep, it looks like Infamous are going to just go for the win. And I think you've been spending too much time with Azurai Luxuria because of that terrible pun.
Aha, but I've been known for my terrible pun. Honestly, it's nothing to do with Azurai, but because I've been told to be a little more, well, I guess, educated in my use of puns. That's why you don't see that as often. But a Solar Storm just to end the game in a spectacular manner. And of course, a double kill across the board. But Infamous played very well. Then in that team fight, they're going back to their original comp, the comp that they're very comfortable with. And we see the old Infamous coming back, the objective focus one, the ones that do not quite care about their kills, and then just going on and on about the for the objectives and not allowing that of Celsior to just breathe and relax throughout the game. So good game and well played. What do you think, Mini? Should Infamous could have just put off that team comp in that second game, but they decided to try something new with that Fortress. As for this game, they just went back to their